front of us, we have the director of football, Mr. Jason Pola, and then we have the director of supporters development, Mr. Patso Ganzingeni, and then the chief executive officer, Mr. Albert Chikoga. In the midst of us, we also have the president and the vice president. Without much ado, I will hand over to the CEO to take us through this event.
To begin with, let me inform you that as FCB Nyasa Big Bullets, we are very saddened by the incident that happened on Sunday when we hosted Mafco FC at the Kamuzu Stadium. You also what happened, and some of you that had no opportunity to watch the game, you might have seen the clips making viral on social media, and some of the media houses also carried the story about the incident. So why we've called for this press conference is just to actually straighten a few issues so that the media can actually clarify our position as FCB Nyasa Big Bullets. To begin with, I would like you to understand that as a club, we subscribe to rules and regulations of the game. When that incident happened, which was very shocking, you might have seen that even the kids that were watching that game were hiding their faces, something that we do not want to see in a game of football. Everyone was shocked to see that the professional footballers would treat their fellow players in the manner that the Mafco FC players did. As a football club that respects rules and regulations of the game, we lodged our complaint to Super League of Malawi, and I know that some of you, members of the press, journalists from different media houses, were calling us to react to the incident. So we thought it wise that it is best that we meet today and we speak these things at once so that you get the right message, other than talking to different journalists differently, and then people would be making their own permutations differently. We thought it wise that you come here, we speak to you, we tell you what we think about the incident. So as FCB Nyasa Big Bullets, we are aware that there are procedures that the Super League of Malawi follows in dealing with matters of indiscipline. And we also believe that there are procedures that the Sulomu is actually following in order to make the right determination following the incident. We also understand as a club that the Sulomu is an independent body that handles elite football in Malawi, and we believe that Sulomu is going to handle this matter independently. Our aim of calling for this press conference is not to influence any decision. Our aim is just to actually express our feelings about what has happened. So we know at an opportune time, Sulomu is going to make the determination in the manner that they have actually looked at the issues, they have made proper reflection on what has happened, and also looking at the rules and regulations before them, they are going to make the right determination. But our wish as a football club, is to make sure that whatever determination that Sulomu is going to make is going to set a new tone to all football stakeholders in Malawi, especially football clubs and players, that there is no room for such misconduct in a game of football. A player should not be subjected to that treatment. The injuries that Wongani Lungu, our player, was actually stamped on, the injuries that he would have actually suffered in that particular game were career-threatening injuries. As we are talking to you now, that boy is not going to play this week because he's nursing injuries. This is very sad. This is unacceptable in a game of football. And that's why we are actually making this statement that the Sulum should actually look into it, because whatever determination that will come will actually set new precedent to all football-loving Malawians and all the people that follow football, including football players, that we must respect football, because football, it's a beautiful game. Having said that, I would also want to mention that we believe, as Bullets, that FAM is actually closely monitoring the events as they unfold, because FAM is the mother of football in Malawi, football governing body in Malawi, and I believe they are actually very anxious to see what is going to come out following our complaint that we have actually lodged with the Sulum. The whole idea is to make sure that there is sanity in our game, that what happened on Sunday should never happen again. Not only to Bullets, but to all football players. Football players must be protected. Football players must be protected because they earn their living through playing football. If a player is injured and those injuries have actually caused end of his career, it becomes very sad to football players. That's why we are actually making this statement that even FAM should actually look into the matter very closely and see to it that such kind of things should never happen again in a game of football. I would also want to thank Mafco. They wrote us an apology yesterday. They apologized to us as a football club. They also apologized to our player Wongani Lungu for whatever happened. And they also promised in their letter that they are going to take their internal measures to discipline their players. Our appeal to Mafco executive is that they should walk the talk. They should do it as they have promised us. As a football club, as football clubs, it is our obligation to make sure that our players behave responsibly. So we believe that Mafco executive, they are going to look into it, they are going to discipline their players properly, so that all players in Malawi should know that whatever happened is not acceptable.
Thank you to you, the press. Thanks for coming. Poyamba, mafuna titogoze ife masapota athu a Bullets. Chifukwa zonse zimachitika zija anaona, ndipo mpira ndi game imakhala emotions, koma anayesetsa kudzigwira ndipo anatuluka mu stadium bwinobwino. Zimene zija zinali ndi kuthekera kuti game oloikutha ikanatha kusokonekera mwina kuyambisa violence. Koma ngati club tikumayesetsa kuyankhula nawo masapota athu kuti tizitha kugwira ngakhale zoyipa ngati zimene zitachitika. Mbali zinazo yankhula kale asiyo, koma kwakukulu kumene ife tikunena kuchokera ku supporters ndi kuwathokoza kuti tipitirize kupanga choncho ndipo akhale ndi confidence kunena kuti zikachitikaso zina zotero club izitengapo action. So amve kuthokozedwa mmene tanenera. Chachiwiri tithokoze inuyo chifukwa umboni waukulu umene anthu aona unajambulidwa ndi inu anthu ankhani. So pachipanda inu kujambula mwina bwezi tikumayankhula ina kumatsutsa, koma tikuthokozeni fayo choti mugwira ntchito yabwino kwambiri. Mwina posa kutayira nthawiso kwambiri ndimafuna ndingonena moonjezera zimene asiwo apempha ku bungwe la Sulum. Sindikukhupa kuti chigamulo chathu chokuphwanyidwa basi, I think after violence ukalonga chinatuluka hayi. So zinthu ngati zimene zija zimapangitsa kuti masapota athu tikwaletsa azikhala osunga bata, koma zambiri zikuchitika tsiku lina mwina amaona ngati kuti tikungowagwirira iwo kuti akhale odekha pamene sakuthandizidwa. So ine mawanga ngati director wa masupporters atatithandiza kuti titadziwa pa chigamulo zimene zija, komanso apapa kuti anthu athu athe kukhala ndi kukhutira kuti tikauza kuti dekhani ife tipangapo kanthu iwo acha mapeto akankhana ziona. So in short, we are thanking our supporters for exercising restraint that day. They saw everything things could have gone bad, but they did not react, and we thank them so much because that's the way to go. This is a beautiful game, must be enjoyed by everyone, and such barbaric incidents have got no place in the game of football. And I also said, thank you to the media, you captured that evidence, and here we are, and keep on doing a good job. We appreciate you. And finally, he mentioned about allowing allowing Sulam to do their job, but we're saying we want at least to see some of the issues that are standing come to fruition, because we keep telling our supporters to keep calm, but when they do that, they keep suffering, and in the end, we do not want to lose control of that. But we thank them, and we have confidence that this will be dealt with.
My take on this whole situation is slightly different, but this is only a personal view and not the view of the management and board of FCB Nyasa Big Bullets. So I look at it slightly differently. I look at it as bringing the beautiful game of football in Malawi into total disrepute. It's that what happened that day, and the clip shows, was barbaric reactions by players on another player to basically try and end his career. That's what I see. And because of that, I had to reflect quite deeply in terms of what kind of statement we would like to put out there. But then also understanding that an emotion, a football emotion, normally gets the wrong reaction at the specific time. So as Director of Supporters said, we want to thank our supporters, because we could have been the bad guys on the stage today if those supporters started breaking down fences and a full-out battle on the field pursued. So I thank the supporters. I'm also very happy that the injury is not worse than it could have been. I mean, the amount of time that the guys got stumped on and stamped on is not acceptable in today's game of football. And I wondered to myself, if this happened in any international league outside of Malawi, how the regulators would have reacted. Would they have banned those players and taken those players and not make them see the light of day on another football pitch ever? Because that kind of reaction is totally unacceptable, and I have no words to describe it. And I think it would have been a different situation altogether if our player's leg, for example, was broken today and his football career is over. And then I reflect again and I say, well, maybe this is a positive in another way. By allowing Sulam to make the right decision and fundamentally change what happens in a situation like this in football for the future and the good of Malawi football. And I think it will also put FAM under pressure to have an eagle's eye on a decision that will be made in a situation like this. We have had on-the-ball injuries, bad injuries to players that have ended their careers. But we've had off-the-ball incidents as well, but we've never had, in the history of Malawi football, 3 players physically attack. And it's another comrade, it's another player. They have the same job. And what happens if that happens to them? So this is like a first in Malawi, and I'm hoping that in a good way this will set the precedent on the decisions that are made by Sulam and FAM. And that will actually change the way, and the football players, coaches, management and staff need to reflect on what their teams are doing and what their actual own players are doing. Because it's just changed football in Malawi. What happened here is what happens with riots in the street. Not on a football pitch. Not in the Super League of Malawi. This is our Premier League. How is that possible that there's not going to be repercussions? And I look at Mafco and I appreciate the letter that they wrote, and I know that the army is disciplined. So they have a different kind of player. They discipline people, and I just hope that right from the top to the bottom, that there's going to be repercussions on those players. I'm saddened by this entire situation. And I think that's about all I can say. Thank you very much. I don't know if my director for players want to say anything, Joe.
No, through you, President. I think our President covered everything, as well as our CEO and our supporters director. But as one that covers football players within our club, we would just like to thank God that Wongani Lungu is not sustained an injury that has threatened his career or ended his career. Wongani joined the club not long ago. He's a young player with an extremely bright future. He had man of the match despite what happened to him over the weekend. So it's our job to protect players, not just Wongani Lungu, not just Nyasa Big Bullets players, but the entire roster within the Super League of Malawi. And like our President said, unsporting behavior and violent conduct is something that we must not have in the game. As a club and as a Super League, we've tried very hard to keep violence out of the stands. We shouldn't be here talking about how to keep violence off the pitch. So I think it's unfortunate that maybe 2 or 3 individuals can potentially ruin the reputation of the Super League of Malawi, the clubs that they represent. But there is absolutely no place for such players within this league. And I think that's all I can say.
Thank you, Joe.
No, I did my part, thanks.
Yeah.
Friends, we'd like to thank you, all members of the press, for coming at such short notice. Hope that next time we invite you, you also do the same. Thank you.
No, thank you very much.
Thank you.